Hi, welcome to LearnX Academy. Today we're going to discuss the listening part on the TOEFL examination. So we're going to discuss some strategies to think about when we're listening to some of the lectures in the integrated sections as well, where you're listening to a lecture, reading a passage, and then giving a response to that. That's something that is done on the speaking section, and also the listening section will ask you to listen to a scenario as well and then give some responses for that. Okay. First off, it's really important that you're familiar with the questions on the exam and to read the directions that are given there. Probably the most important part is to be able to take good notes while you're listening, because of course you're not going to be able to listen to them a second time. You really need to practice your listening skills for this test. Obviously, here's a few points here. Don't leave any questions blank on your answer sheet, and also use your time wisely here. I'm going to keep emphasizing throughout that it's really important that you improve your note-taking skills for the listening sections on the test. Okay. As you're listening to the listening section of the test, here's a few pointers to help you strengthen your skills. As I said, listening to the key points, listening to the details of the situation to help you understand what is happening is really important. So you really need to be a very strong active listener. And if you're having difficulties with listening section, again, it's just a practice of fine-tuning your active listening skills so that you can pick up those points. Okay, as we go forward, let's go ahead and practice some of these situations here. Of course, we don't have the recording, but we'll be able to read the dialogue. So here's a situation example that you may hear in a recording, and you're supposed to listen and then give a response. Basically, you are trying to determine what the situation is. If you see, they've underlined that one section, the man is saying, "I'm feeling a little sick." Okay, what does that mean? We're looking at idiomatic language, of course, here. All right, let's look at the second example here. If we read this situation, see if you can determine what the answer is here. Alright, so the key here is she's saying that she's studying so much she can't fit anything more in her brain. So we want to figure out what does she actually mean here. She's basically feeling drained. She's pretty much done so much she can't do anything else. Okay, as you listen, choose answers that basically are restating the issue. Okay, basically you need to understand what is being said and then being able to put it in your own words. So there's a little bit of almost kind of making an inference at times, but again, you need to have an understanding of what is happening, and then give an appropriate restatement response. Let's look at a second skill that you need to have for this section. Alright, you'll hear this sample recording, and then you'll be able to determine what is the best answer conclusion based on the situation. We can determine that the library was very noisy. They're saying it wasn't very quiet, so we're drawing a conclusion here. The library was noisy. Let's look at another situation here. So basically, the man is saying here that he's not having an easy time of it. Okay, so what is basically the man saying about the exam? It's probably going to be a little difficult for him. He's saying he's not having an easy time. It's going to be a difficult test for him. Okay. Alright, pay attention to negative sentences when you're reading. Tom is not sad about the results. Tom is happy about the results. Sometimes these can cause some confusion. So when you're taking notes to the listening sections on the exam, pay close attention to these keywords here. You really have to pick up the fine details to understand. Pay close attention to suggestions in a audio recording. Okay, here a situation, the lady is saying, why don't you call them now? Okay, the woman is suggesting that he call his family. Okay, let's look at this situation. If you notice the situation, they're talking about discussing the ideas while they're eating. And they're saying, let's talk about the project over lunch. These expressions that suggest are good to listen to closely. This can give you suggestions on what the person wants to do, so you can pay close attention to these. Okay, on the recording you can hear a situation here. A woman is saying, we just bought it last week. Okay, basically that means that they have purchased a chair recently. Alright, so here it's just a situation. If the conversation is a passive statement, then the question is often an active statement, and vice versa. Alright, let's look at another situation here where we're looking at who and where. So we want to determine who the woman is actually. Alright, she's basically a musician. She's playing a piano and singing. Let's look at this situation. We want to determine who is a woman most likely to be. She's actually a financial advisor, and these are some of your clues. Okay, putting your salary into a savings account and investing. So these are some of the words that prompt us to determine that she must be a financial advisor. Okay, let's look at this situation and determine who is this man likely to be. You'll have to look at some clues to help you determine and form a conclusion. Okay, did you get it right? He's actually a professor, and the clues are the articles on reserve are checked out, and ask the librarian to put some more copies on reserve. Okay, so you're drawing conclusions about who and where. Okay, who is talking and where does the conversation take place? Okay, let's look at another skill that may be seen on the listening section. We're looking at agreements in a situation. The woman here is agreeing on the situation. The man is saying the meal is overpriced, and she's also agreeing with him. That means she basically has the same opinion as what the man has stated. Okay, let's look at a situation here. We want to know what is the woman meaning by her statement. Okay, so the best sentence that agrees with her statement is that she's actually agreeing that Howard is also talented. Okay, let's look at another situation. We want to know, how does the man feel about the woman's idea? Okay, the man actually thinks it's a good idea because he's agreeing with her. All right, let's look at another situation here. We want to understand, what does a woman mean by her statement, response to the dialogue. She's actually not sure why author dropped the class. She says, well, me neither. Okay, but she's backing that up by saying you must have a good reason. Okay, let's look at another situation to determine what the woman must mean by her statement. She actually agrees with him. Okay, so here's a few expressions that should clue you in that somebody's agreeing. Okay, these are things that you should be listening to in the listening sections. You even take note of it when you're listening to help you along. Again, those note-taking sessions are really important that you practice that because you have the listening section where you'll be listening to things, and then you have the speaking section where you have integrated, where you're listening to a lecture, then you're reading something, then you're supposed to speak about a situation relating to that. So listening skills are really important on the TOEFL tests. Okay, let's look at the listening part B questions. Okay, and here's a situation. The conversations are related to school, related to the environment of somebody going to school. Okay, maybe related to general living situations or current event topics. A few strategies for this part of the listening section. Very important to listen to the beginning of the conversation. All right, follow along with answers in your test book and try to pick out the best answer. A good guess is always better than no answer. Definitely go and work through the questions in this test. Okay, so let's look at a sample question. In your book, you'll read this situation. You can try to anticipate the question, what's going to happen next. Okay, here's the actual topic here. You're looking at a topic, and you'll be thinking something along the lines, the topic of conversation is a very difficult history exam. Okay, so here's in the recording you'll hear this scenario. Okay, then we want to understand what problem does he have and where is Stanfield Hall. These are the questions that you will hear from the narrator, and then you have to determine what's the best answer for that. Okay, so we know that he's lost, and the location of Stanfield Hall, based on the recording, is on the other side of the campus. Okay, let's look at Part C questions from the listening section. Okay, listen very closely. Take quick notes if you're able to help you remember. And again, good guess is better than not giving any answer. Okay, for these questions, you'll read a scenario like this. You try to anticipate the question. How long has something been going on? Something is happening here. And the actual topic that you will get is something like this. Okay, so here on the recording you hear this situation, and then you want to answer the questions by audio. Okay, so let's go ahead and read the transcript, and let's try to answer the questions. Okay, so let's look at the first question. We want to determine what happens to people who suffer from allergies. Okay, we could probably even answer this question without even thinking about the recording that we've heard. We most can determine the best answer here. We know that they sneeze. Number 2, what is mentioned about cats? There we'll have to refer back to what we've already listened to determine that they have allergies. Okay, when you're listening, take quick notes. Don't write whole sentences. Keywords, you can remind yourself that cats can also have allergies. Let's look at number 3. What can someone do with a cat that has allergies? Obviously we can give it medicine. Again, it's all about taking notes, quick notes, keywords, main ideas, main points to help refresh your memory, because sometimes it might not be possible for you to remember everything. Okay, I hope these exercises and practice kind of gave you a good idea as to what's going to be on the TOEFL listening section of the test. If you'd like more information or practice or help, visit us at learnxacademy.com. Feel free to write to us at care@learnxacademy.com, or do join us on Skype at learnx.tech or learnx.academy. Thank you.